I'm live.
And I am live just as well, folks. Welcome to episode 21 of Music Memories with your host, Dr. Earl and Arknolia Bean. And we have a third man in the party here, Jeebus the God. He's a cool guy living in Vancouver. And we talked a couple times on Skype here, and he joined in last night for episode 20. He came up with a good suggestion for tonight's program, our top list of soundtracks, in which we already have compiled here. And Jeebus is with us tonight, and he has, I guess, you have a couple lists of your own, if I'm correct?
Straight off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's pretty
Nice.
much how I'm going to do it too for the other two.
Yep.
Straight off the top of my head, soundtracks are awesome. They've been around forever, and yeah, I'm really excited to get to that when we get there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to
Right, we're
shock you
glad
with a
to.
few of them.
Right. Now I compiled
Awesome.
my own. I have a four lists of my own. These are mostly the top five, whether it's and they're mostly comprised of the top five debut albums, the top five soundtracks, the top five songs from the Kinks, and then the top five albums from the Moody Blues. And the albums from this from the Moody Blues are taken from the Core
Well,
Seven
not
album there.
necessarily. Now, Jeebus might have others he likes better.
Yeah, who knows? Well, but that's why one reason why we have Jeebus on, so we could add his input. He could surprise us, with his top favorites there.
Right.
And I
And
guess
I
you
guess
wanted
we'll
to start
start.
with the Moody Blues.
Yeah, we'll start with the Moody Blues, and let's do our fives. Number five first, and
Okay,
I guess we'll start with Jeebus.
all right.
Your,
Jeebus, you
your,
ready, dude?
Yes, sir.
your number
Okay.
five Moody Blues.
What? I didn't make. Oh shoot! I'll let you guys go, and I'll just comment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do your
That's what I
do
usually
yours,
do at
Doctor.
times. Okay. Now these lists of five albums are taken from the course, the what is known as the Core Seven from '67 to 1974 there. And I'm going to explain these albums pretty definitely here. Number five on my Moody Blues top five albums will have to be, of course, the first full length record they put out, Days of Future Past. Now, was one of the first records to combine orchestra arrangements with rock music there. What they did is they compiled a full orchestra to accompany the tracks that the Moody's have already recorded, like a peak hour, Tuesday afternoon, and of course, Nights in White Satin, which, as you noticed on the album version, the orchestra was added on to the actual recording there. Because when I first heard the original 45 version, there was no orchestra, just Mike Pinder's Mellotron there.
Right. And that
Yeah.
that album is a true, I guess, probably one of the first concept albums that took and did a whole thing based on a theme throughout.
Yeah, and the theme was basically the whole from morning until nighttime. What goes
Right.
on during the whole day. That was the whole concept. I remember an old next door neighbor who turned me on to that album was saying this will be the music of the future. There.
It is pretty close. And it's actually among the first prog albums. And prog is my first love. I am deep into prog.
And I guess it's safe to say that the Moody Blues, as me and JB, Dave Rose, were talking about it on the episode of Monetize This, and we both agreed the Moody Blues were one of the first prog rock bands to emerge
Right.
towards later, of course, bands like King Crimson, yes, Genesis with Peter Gabriel, with Gentle Giant, um,
Soft
other groups
Machine,
with Correct. Yep,
Vandergraaf Generator. I mean,
yep.
I can sit here and name them all day, but we'll get to them.
And of course, the U.S. had theirs, with the offered theirs as well. That's such as Kansas, Dream Theater.
Right.
What's that group called? The Mars Volitas. I
Oh,
have
Mars
trouble pronouncing
Volta.
Mars Volta. Yes,
Yeah.
of course. And of course, other bands are out there that are now trending on Facebook, trying to advertise themselves on Facebook. So many I can't even name there. Now, number four on the
Wait,
list, we have to
my number
go ahead.
five.
Your number five?
This is kind of tough. I'm going to go with To Our Children's Children's Children, and I really like that album. But, the other four, for me, worked real well. But To Our Children's 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 has some of my favorites, which is kind of bizarre. But I think I would put that, on second thought, I'm going to agree with you on Days of Future Past. I'll put that number five.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Now, number four is on my list is On the Threshold of a Dream.
Ooh, I like
Now,
that one.
now there was interesting when I saw that. I remember seeing that at I think it was a garage sale when I was about 13 or 12 years old, and I was pretty impressed by the cover of it.
Oh, yeah, their
And
covers are outstanding.
yeah, especially the cover for the number one album on my list here. Now, what was intrigued was the first opening track, In the Beginning,
Yeah, because it had
with that
that little
with
computer voice thing.
yeah, your your magnetic ink. If you
Yeah,
ever listened at the beginning of that album, you know what I'm talking about there. And plus, that of course is the Mellotron in the background there, operated of course by the Mellotron King Mike Pinder.
yeah, that guy could. Oh, wow.
And I also read it here in the story that something screwed up with this Mellotron, and it took about 20 minutes for him to get his toolbox to fix the whole damn thing, while some cartoons are being shown while he was doing that.
Yeah, from what I understand, a mellotron's a hard instrument to keep up.
Yeah, it is because you remember, and the Mellotrons back then were run on mostly tapes,
Right,
and the note only lasts about 8 seconds, really, when you really think about it there.
right.
But the sounds that would come out of it was just flat out either put you in outer space in another world or would bring tears to your eyes. A lot of times when it was played towards a very somber type song there.
Yeah, okay. My, well, I hate to agree with you in each case, but in this case, I got to agree on this one.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one as On the Threshold of a Dream is my number four.
Okay, number three on the list. Seventh, what is the last name? Soran, I think it's called.
Sojourn.
Seventh Sojourn. Yeah. And but a lot of the tracks on that album are pretty damn good. Like damn gonna Lost in a Lost World. When You're a Free Man, that's a very haunting track there.
Oh
And of
yeah,
course we can't. Oh yeah, and we cannot forget the hit single from that song. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band, and plus You and I, Land of Make Believe. It's pretty damn good. Pretty easy songs to play on the guitar. New
yeah.
Horizons, the second track from that album,
For My Lady,
very
which actually I was in a band that covered that song.
nice. Yeah. So that's definitely on my list there. Top. That's at number three there.
Yeah, I'm. Well, real quick before we get to my number three, I know both of us are probably leaving off Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, but
Oh
that.
my God, I forgot to put that on my list. That
Oh,
would
that's
be
that's fine. I mean,
oh,
because actually, to me, the other five that we will do will be better, but this is an album worth mentioning.
but you know what? Now that you mention it, I'm going to add a second. An, I'm going to. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Future Past at number six, Threshold at number five, Seventh Surgeon at number four, Thresh. Every Good Boy Deserves Favor at number three because I
Okay,
remember having yeah, because I remember hearing it on the eight track that my dad had gotten, and I was like mesmerized by the first opening track was the Procession, I think it is.
yeah, and you remember what Every Good Boy Deserves Favor actually means?
Yeah, it's Rewards, I think it is,
It's
if I'm
what?
correct.
Well, no, it's the scale on the music staff. E,
Ah,
it's E G B D F, and that's your what do they call those things?
chords.
No, it's a it's a term that you use to memorize things, and
Uh,
that's what every good boy deserves favor means for the lines and a staff on music.
I see. Yeah.
And
Interesting. I never knew about that there.
yeah, and the spaces are face, FACE.
Yeah, that's
But see,
right.
I can read
Let
music.
my name go.
But I can read music. Okay,
Well,
well, I'm going to go ahead and the two that I mentioned, I'm going to drop down
yeah.
because I'm going to do six now. And
Okay.
I'm going to put On the Threshold of a Dream here. Oh, wait, did
All
I already
right.
mention that one?
I think you put it at number 4.
Okay, let's do it to our children's children. I love that album, but the other three I like better.
Yeah. That's number 2 on my list as well, believe it or not.
But that one has got some excellent songs on it.
Absolutely. Cradle of Life, Watching and Waiting, Gypsy, Eyes of a Child, the opening track, Higher and Higher, which, by
Yeah,
the way, for I understand, the beginning of that track was supposed to represent a rocket ship lifting off. And basically, that whole album was a concept album inspired by landing on the moon back that same year. It was also the first record that the debut on their own record label, Threshold Records, if you may remember.
yeah. Because before that, I think they were in Durham.
Yes, Durham Records, yeah, which was this. It was distributed in the States by London Records, and in the UK it was from Decca Records.
But that, I
And
guess, would be my number four.
yes, and interest and the other ad, they would also that label will also be an output to put out solo releases by the guys like I know Hayward and Lodge put out a record they
Blue
did
Jays.
together called Blue Jays. Yes, I know Mike Pinder put out a couple solo records as just as well, and they even signed a couple other acts out there. One of them was a group called Trapeze, which whose
Yeah,
singer and
they had a
bassist
couple of good
Glenn
ones.
Hughes whose singer bassist on Glenn Hughes would later join Deep Purple, and the drummer Dave Holland would later join Judas Priest in the 1980s.
Right, right.
Right.
Okay, what you got at number three?
Well, actually, it was to my children's was actually number 2. Number 3 would have to be as I rearranged it. Every good boy deserves a favor.
Okay, I guess my number three. Ooh, now it's got tough for me. Um, Probably In Search of the Lost Chord. I like that one a
Uh,
lot, but the other two I'm going to put higher.
I
But In Search
It's
of the
kind of
Lost
funny
Chord's
that.
got some great stuff on it.
Oh yeah, House of Four Doors, and of course we cannot forget the song Legend of a Mind, the song about Timothy Leary, the
Yeah,
psychedelic drug doctor there.
and actually I have a liking very much for the Om song. Om.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess they were practicing that particular stuff there for a while, for what I understand.
Yeah, and
Oh,
Dr. Livingston, I presume.
oh yeah, and of course Ride My Seesaw, and the beginning
Right.
of that track just as well.
Yeah, the one about bursting up through the tarmac again. Yeah.
Yep.
The Grammy Edge thing.
Yes, absolutely. You got to give Graham Edge the drummer credit. He came up with some pretty damn good poetry there.
Yeah, well, Days of Future Past proves that.
Yep.
Um,
And also on the other albums as well. He wrote the words to Higher and Higher from to our
yeah,
children's, as well as the balance from The Question of Balance.
I always liked that one line about a million butterflies sneezing or whatever it was.
Yeah, I know.
That was pretty awesome to me. I
Yeah,
don't know
right. And
why.
by the way, and speaking of Question of Balance, that album is number 1 on my list because the feel and the atmosphere of that record, along with the cover of that album, was
Well,
pretty much top
We'll
notch.
get that in a second here. I guess we're at number two. Find out which one you got at number two, and then which one you left off.
All right. Well, like I said, I rearranged it when you brought up "Every Good Boy Deserves Favor." What I just said just now is I put Instead of a top five, it's a top six.
Right.
The six will be Days of Future Past. Number five is Threshold of a Dream. Number four is Seven Surgeon. Number three is Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. Number two, To Our Children's, and number
Okay.
one, A
No.
Question of Balance.
Well, okay. I hadn't done my two yet, but that's fine.
Right. Right.
Okay, and actually, my number two is Seven Sojourn. I
Oh yeah.
really like that album. I don't know why.
I know.
My number
Probably
one
because
is A
it's
Question of Balance.
mine is number one as well because then like I said, the feel, the atmosphere, the arrangements and production of that album was just, the one that's my personal favorite for that album would have to be How Is It We Are Here.
Yeah, and I like And the Tide Rushes In
Yep. Oh yeah.
in
And plus
Minstrel
how the
Song. But my
Minst-
favorite, my favorite on that album is Melancholy Man.
oh man, that was a Honda. The bridge of that song, I don't know what kind of filters or effects he used for that winds sounds of winds throughout that song, but that was completely fucking haunting, dude. That was just completely it was like wow, holy cow. The last time you heard a song like something like that was on the Beatles, I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a storm coming at you at full blast, man.
Well, that basically covers their core seven, but worth a mention is Octave, which had Stepping in a Slide Zone, which is a pretty decent song.
Mm,
Um, the Other Side of Life, which The Other Side of Life is a great song.
yeah.
And I think that's
And
the
that,
one with Your Wildest Dreams on it.
yes, it was. Yeah, and sadly, Octave was the last record to feature Mike Pinder on Daryl's albums.
Yeah,
Apparently, what and the story, for what I understood, is that according to Pinder, him and Justin Hayward were writing a song together. They were in the complete vibe. Graham Edge tried to come in. He wanted to. I said, "Hold on, guys. Hey, guys, hold up there." And for some reason, Pinder just shut the hell up. You're just a drummer, so and so, blah blah blah, and kind of like disrespected Edge there for what he said. And I
yeah,
guess that kind of there was a lot of tension between those two, and I guess that resulted in him either being let go from the group or leaving.
yeah. And I'd heard the story too that he lived pretty far away, and it was hard for him to make the sessions.
Yeah, wow. And plus, I know he, in a couple of interviews, he's been trying to say for many times that he was really sorry that he did that, but he's trying to send messages to this people, to that people, and we're like, wait a minute, couldn't you just apologize to him yourself there?
Yeah, it would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, but I don't know. But then again, we don't know what Graham Edge's viewpoint is that, he could probably hold on to something like that for the rest of his life. Who knows?
Yeah. And the other song that's worth mentioning, we'll do a top five when we get to the Moody, or top 10 when we get to the Moody Blues, is
Yeah.
I Know You're Out There Somewhere, which was a big hit for them. I think it's on the Sur La Mer album.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on the AM radio all the time. When I had this one car, and before I actually got my first tape player put in there, what it did, I used to play this AM station out of Chatham, out of Canada. I used to cruise around the metropolitan beach area by Clinton Township back in Michigan a lot of times.
Yeah,
They would play songs like that song as well as Hands to Heaven by the group Breed and a couple other tracks as well that was trending at that time.
right, right.
It was, yeah. So interesting that and people ask, well, were you listening to rock and roll stations as well? I say, yeah, I listened to that, but there was something about that station that intrigued me for some reason. I don't know what it was.
Well, see, you're kind of a musicologist like I am, which is I have my certain core that I really like, but I'm willing to listen to other things just to get a feel for other things.
Yeah,
I don't want to be stuck in one, I don't want to be one of those people that I like this and that's all I like. Everything else can suck.
yeah,
It's just not the way to be. There's
Yeah,
a lot of good
I
exactly. You
want to
got
know
to.
music
your guys' opinions about a couple of the albums here. It's Strange Times and December.
from
You
the
know,
Moody
I never.
Blues.
Yeah,
Strange Times is decent. There's a couple of good songs on it that I can remember. December, I'm not that familiar with.
I don't think I've heard any of the tracks from those two records. To be honest with you.
Well,
Those are
Strange,
the newest records. The
yeah.
Yeah,
worst record.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that one of the songs that comes to mind is
You guys
English.
are really familiar with the '60s and the '70s, but they've got shoot. How many records do these guys have? Like what, 15, 12?
Yeah, somewhere in
It's a
that
lot.
range. And there are
All
good
together, I
songs
believe so. Yeah.
on Strange Times. English Sunset's a great song.
Hmm.
Sooner or Later is pretty decent. There's good songs on those albums. They just, I guess, they don't stick because they're newer. That's kind of
They're
a strange
newer.
one.
They don't have that when you remember growing up or at a certain age, and when music was good, right? As well.
Yeah, that's
Which
what
is kind of
that's the thing that it's which is another thing in my issue with the certain radio stations is they don't want to give time or any place for the newer music, but they always go back to this same stuff that they always play over and over and over, whether it's Feel Like Making Love or More Than a Feeling. Like how many records Boston has released it, since I think the last one they put it out was in 2011, I think it was
in
called
corporate or something like that.
I think no, I think it was Corporate America. I think it was
Yeah,
before Brad Delp died, if I understand. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Now,
And
if a
look,
guy wanted to get a hold of some of these albums, you wouldn't be able to, like, aside from getting them digital, physically
yeah,
in your hand.
yeah.
The only
you'd have to
way
find
would be
an old
record, right?
record store. Well, actually,
Do
a
you
lot
have
of
any of
the
those albums?
well, a lot of
You guys
the
collect records?
well, a lot of the more popular albums are available on CD.
And yeah, but the thing is, right now, this moment, I think right now because of all the downloads, streaming music sites that
Yeah,
are out there, mostly the CDs are pretty much, they're kind of like at a minimal. Like for instance, at a Walmart nearby, they have lots of vinyl albums, but very few CDs out there.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
And
vinyl's
and
coming
back in
back. It's been coming back hard, right?
yeah,
yeah, that has been.
there are
Yeah,
people that just like the way vinyl sounds, for
yeah,
lack of a better word, because CD's got that uh, kind of a, for lack of a better term, a
clean sound.
clean, crisp.
Yeah.
You don't hear the way things were. And on that December album,
Whereas the on the vinyl record you could hear that bass, a lot
yeah,
more clear.
and on that December album, that's kind of a Christmas album actually, which is
Oh,
interesting because they waited a long time before they did Christmas songs.
wow. And by the way, the Moody Blues are still together, but now it's a trio. It's the Justin Hayward, John Lodge, and Graham Edge. I guess
Yeah, Ray Thomas
Patrick
retired.
Moran. Yeah, what again? Ray Thomas
Ray
retired, and
Thomas retired.
yeah, he was the guy who did tambourine, the flute, and a couple other percussion instruments as well. He sang
Right.
and wrote some so good songs just as well, like the one we mentioned, that the tide rushes in.
For my lady.
Yep, absolutely, which is a great song to play. By the way, if you're slow dancing with your lady love there.
Yeah. But
And of course, Patrick, and also I don't know what happened with Patrick Moraz, who took Mike Pinder's place there. I guess he probably left or was let go. I think it was.
I honestly don't know his fate. He was also
Uh,
in Yes for a while.
yeah, I remember the album Relayer.
Yeah.
I
And
had that album.
okay, but I guess that kind of goes over the Moody Blues. Did you have anything to add, Jeebus?
What's that? Sorry?
Do you have anything to add to the Moody Blues before we move on?
Geez, they've been around a long time. A lot of albums.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think. I mean, they've been around longer than any of the British invasion, right?
No, they came out about the same
No.
time.
Yep. All those bands like the Kinks, the
No, but they
Stones, the
stuck around
Beatles.
the longest, haven't? I mean,
Well, other
other
than the
than
Stones.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Nope, that's all I
Stones,
got
the
to
Who.
add.
Yeah,
It's a good band though.
yeah.
Good
Yeah,
band.
because
The Who's are still together.
Days of Future Past came out in 1967, but that
Yep.
wasn't their first album.
No, it wasn't. They had a couple other records, but this was before the lineup that we all knew.
The
Because they
semi-classic
had that
laminate.
exactly the song "Go Now" that featured Denny Lane, and who later in the '70s would join Paul McCartney's Wings.
Right, right. Well, I guess let's move on to debut albums.
Okay, I have another top five here, and you're going to be a couple of surprised about a couple on this list here.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
this is
okay.
going to be off the top of my head, so
All right, you want to do first, or do you want me to start?
you start.
Okay, number five of my top debut albums have to be "Burns Like a Star" by Stone Fury. Now, I did a video review of this album on my channel not too long ago. I was able to finally download it, and I had the cassette for it, and was like, wow, really intrigued by the first track, "Break Down the Wall." It was good, clean, hard rock without no scares of the demon thrash stuff there that bands like Slayer were coming out with at that time, or a Merciful Fate. You know, it was pretty damn good stuff there. And it's also notable that the singer Lenny Wolf would be later be the frontman for the band Kingdom Come, a
Okay.
couple of years
Right.
down the line there. Now it's good, clean guitar rock and good, decent songs on that album. Songs like "I Hate to Sleep Alone," "Don't Tell Me Why," and the last track, "Shannon You Lose." Good song, good album there.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
excuse me, great album. Number four would have to be an album
Well,
that. What?
I got a number five.
Oh wow.
Meet the Beatles.
Oh yeah, the
That's
Oh
Beatles.
probably
yeah,
an all-time classic
good one.
debut album. Although technically it's a U.S. debut because they released stuff earlier overseas. But as far as the
Absolutely.
U.S. audience is concerned, this is the debut. Because I mean, Meet the Beatles.
That's a
What else
tough
can you?
record to find.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah,
a
because especially in that with that particular title, because nowadays that it's reissued as "With the Beatles," the British version that's on CD right now.
right, right. The Capitol
And
records are hard to find.
I'm still saying that Capitol Records should at least reissue the U.S. versions, on
Right.
vinyl and CDs just as well. What the fuck? I remember they had the box set of the Capitol U.S. releases there, but that was back in, I believe, in 2005, I think it was.
I
Right.
want to get into the discussion in a future date. The whole mess that the Beatles got into with Michael Jackson owning their content.
Yeah, that only their songs. Yeah, I remember Paul McCartney was the one who suggested Michael Jackson go into the music publishing buying thing there because that's where you can earn lots of money. But keep in mind, while Paul McCartney was still pissed off that Michael Jackson bought the rights to their songs, keep in mind that McCartney also, for I understand, bought the rights to a few Buddy Holly songs.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
what,
yeah,
what we'll do is we'll cover that when we go over our Beatles list.
Hmm.
once we
Which,
get there.
yeah, it won't be long actually. But I guess now you're number four.
Okay. Well, number four is an album that I first heard on the high school radio station back around 1982 there that's when I discovered bands like Slayer, Metallica, other songs by Iron Maiden and such. Um, I heard the track called "What You Don't Know Sure Can Hurt You," and this was the first track from this album. Now, it was released originally in '82 on a UK label titled Secret Records. It would be reissued with remixed in 1985 on their US label Atlantic Records. And I'm speaking of "Under the Blade" by Twisted Sister.
Hmm.
Oh, cool. That's a good one.
Songs like "Shoot 'Em Down," "Day of the Rocker," a lot of a lot of good stuff there. Great album. It was like one of the most fiercest heavy metal records of all time. And of course, the U.S. version would have later come up with a bonus track that they recorded titled "I'll Never Grow Up," I guess it was called. Another rebellious reuse song there. And
Yeah.
yeah. So you got to
Here's
give
a
it up.
fun one. Here's a fun one that I wanted to throw out. I don't have a list or anything, and I don't have a lot off the top of my head, but one of my very favorite albums growing up was Appetite for Destruction
By Guns N' Roses.
by Guns N' Roses, man.
Yeah.
That was a good album.
Did
Holy.
cassette or a vinyl album?
Cassette.
Oh wow! Because
I,
if you had the because it would be cool. You know what? That album has now been reissued on vinyl just as well. And get this, it's what they do is instead of a two-sided record, they have a three-side. You know, they extended it into a double album, whereas the fourth side is completely blank.
Huh.
Yeah, and instead of a sides 1, 2, 3, it's side G, side N, and side R.
Johnny Winter released an album like that in the 70s,
Oh
60s,
wow!
70s. I forgot the name of the album, but I remember I had the album. And there was a
And
one,
also, of
two,
course,
three, and nothing.
all right. Same thing with the band Extreme, three sides to every story. And
I'm going to
also we
guess
got,
that Winter
and
was the
also,
first one that did it.
all right, and also I think we cannot forget the reissue of Hunky Dory by David Bowie.
Yeah.
I know when Ryko Records released that album, it was the third side was just bonus tracks, and of course nothing on side 4.
Arknolia, do you ever mess with Guns N' Roses? Do you ever?
Yeah, they got a few songs I like real well. Uh,
Having Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
well, I'm trying to remember the name of the song off the top of my head that's got the.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Welcome
I'm
to the
talking.
jungle.
No, there's
Yeah,
another
but
one
that's
that's got. Oh, Sweet Child of Mine.
oh
That's
yeah,
got
Oh,
that
that's a
opening
good one.
little. That opening little guitar. I get into guitar little things.
by the way, I saw this on YouTube. Robert Fripp from King Crimson and his wife Tanya Wilcox did like a short cover of that song when they're on her channel there, just Toya, and it's
Wow.
they have it right there. And Robert
Sweet
Fripp
Child
does.
of Mine.
Yep, they did.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Interesting.
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to look
Look for
that up.
Toya. Just yeah, definitely. Just look for Toya channel. Toyah.
Yeah, because I'm a big Robert Fripp fan.
That's all I man.
That's that would be interesting. Okay,
He
my
also
number
did this.
4 is going to throw you for a loop here, but for me, this was a real great debut album, the Amboy Dukes,
Oh my gosh, Ted Nugent and the Boys.
and
Ed Nugent.
this was before Journey to the Center of the Mind, but it's got
Man,
a great version of Baby Please Don't Go,
I remember hearing that man on Detroit radio many times, man. Fucking fierce, man.
and they covered I Feel Free by Cream.
Oh yeah.
They also did Down on Phillips Escalator, which is a pretty cool song actually. Uh, and another one called Gimme Love, which is another good. You can hear Nugent starting to get it up. Journey to the Center of the Mind's on the next album, but that's
Yeah.
their big, probably their big song was Journey to the Center of the Mind.
Yeah, and of course we talked about the album cover there.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh man,
well, it's kind of funny because Nugent's one of those.
anti-drug.
Yeah, and when they did Journey to the Center of the Mind, he thought it meant just expanding your consciousness. And I guess the guy
Yeah.
who wrote it told it, no, it's drug song. And he's like, what? And I don't think he ever played it after that, to be honest.
Oh man, I know exactly.
What year is the debut of Ted Nugent? What was the year the album came out?
I'm gonna say early 70s. I just know that
Okay.
what Ted
Stranglehold
Nugent,
was
what
the first
oh the
Ted
Ted
Nugent song
Nugent
with
album.
Stranglehold on
Yeah,
it.
it's 1972, 71, I believe. Yeah,
Where's Ted Nugent from?
Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, he's a Detroit guy. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep, just like me.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, geez, a lot of artists came out of Detroit. That's
A lot of great artists, a lot of underrated artists. Iggy Pop, he's from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Mitch
the
Ryder.
Stooges, Mitch Ryder, the Detroit Wheels, the MC5.
Just like we had lots of bands out of Texas.
Absolutely, there. You got, and plus you got to give it up to Detroit for having that riveting power sound there,
Hmm.
because they even said there where Mick Jagger be like rah rah rah, their singer be like rah 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 rah, because so, and even I forgot who it was, but some radio DJ said something about Michigan really adds a lot of more harder edge to a lot of these bands' music.
Right. Okay, what's your number three?
Oh, we cannot forget the Bob Seger system.
Ooh.
For your number three?
No, no, I'm talking about the Detroit bands out there that were
Oh,
hard and driven.
you scared
Now,
me.
sorry about that.
I was going to
Yeah,
say his first three or four albums were good, but they weren't what you'd call, wow, who's these guys?
and now, well, my number three would have to be an album that spawned the thrash metal, helped actually spawned the health, the excuse me, bleh, I'm getting tongue tied. The thrash heavy metal movement, and that took place in the early 1980s. I'm speaking of course, "Kill Them All" by Metallica.
Huh.
Oh, nice.
Came out on Megaforce Records in 1983. My best friend Dennis still has the original vinyl copy of that album.
Wow.
Yes, and that album, of course, has been reissued it was reissued now, of course, on their record label, Blackened Recordings, and of course, it was reissued on Elektra Records with two bonus tracks, as we all know.
Right.
Where are you from?
Who, Metallica?
Yeah,
They're from California. They're from the Bay
California.
Area.
All
Yeah,
right.
they're from the Bay Area there.
All
Okay.
right.
My number three is one that I'm amazed you haven't mentioned yet.
Mhm.
Little group from England called Black Sabbath.
Oh
Oh,
my God, that's on my list as well.
That debut album was kind of like, oh, this is worth. I got to hear more.
Oh
When that
man,
one came out.
I explained my when I first heard the first Black Sabbath album. I explained that when I first heard that, it was on a rainy day. I wanted to try to recreate the sound that album did, the way that I was trying to recreate it in my old dad's garage, with the plastic amplifier, the Tiesco guitar, and and I mentioned this. I remember you remember this, Jeebus, me talking about this, trying to recreate the sound of that album while there was water on the ground. Believe it or not, I could have got electrocuted and died right there.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
gosh. But lucky the amplifier was sitting on something there, and I kept the cords away from the water there. Thank goodness. But still, it was a dangerous thing for me to do, man.
Oh yeah. Okay, what's your number two?
Number two, the first Boston album,
Wow.
Ooh.
You know
because of
what?
the way the album sounded, the way the arrangements, and the fact that the guy behind it, not only wrote the songs, played guitar on them, produced it, and it was the engineer of that album. That record took about 5 years to be fully completed before it came out officially as Boston.
Not a bad song on it.
Yeah, that's true. Even though, and probably one of the most top-selling debut albums of all time in the rock and roll category. The other be, of course, the Whitney Houston first record, but
Uh,
that's in a different music category, So that Whitney's debut was considered a rival in the terms of album sales for a debut record there.
right.
But the Boston album, still to this very day.
And my number two is the Boston album. We matched on that one.
Yeah.
Because boy, I tell you, I think we'll do a list on them someday. But I think my favorite song on that album is "Foreplay Long Time." I just love
Oh
that
yeah.
song. You can hear the prog in that song.
Absolutely. And the way Tom Schultz, the guitarist, the man I mentioned who wrote it and engineered that album, the dude can crank on the organ just as well as on the guitar.
Yeah, and that's just a great song.
And by the way, we also remember he has started a company called Schultz Recordings. research and design, which they made a lot of guitar effects,
Yeah.
including the famous Rockman component there, where it's like a size of a Walkman, but you're able to play it through amplifiers, get different sounds, volume levels here and there. Man made tons of money of it, and he used the money he earned from that to afford himself a lawyer to take CBS to court when they were suing him because the guy takes a long, long time to record albums because what he does is he sits, listens to them over and over to make sure this is perfect, that beat is perfect, that bass line is perfect there. He even stated in an interview he will not put out a second-rate Boston album just to fill the pockets of his record label or his.
Right. The man was a true artist and
Yeah,
perfectionist.
and it's still around. I guess they still do shows now and then. Of course, not now because of the COVID-19, but
Well,
it's a whole
and
different lineup.
right. Okay. I'm going to guess that our number one's the same, but go ahead.
My number one, okay, you already mentioned it, the first Black Sabbath album.
Oh wow.
And I explained what the feelings. I explained it everything just minutes ago. What can I say? This was the first heavy metal album. And by the
Well,
way,
that's debatable, but yeah.
yeah, that's true. But then again, there's a lot. According to many people, when this album turned 50 years old, I wanted to go out and buy the first album once again on vinyl. But now
Right.
here's something else. You know those Funko Pop figurines that come out of different characters from movies and musicians here and there?
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yes, I've seen multiple. They have them at either Walmart's and Hot Topics here or Spencer for Gifts. They came out with a big, I think it was a limited edition, a Funko Pop version recreating the cover of that first album with
Oh,
that
I heard
woman on
that.
the front
Yeah.
cover. Yes. And by the way, the woman on that front cover, her name was finally revealed after all these years. Her name was Louisa Livingston.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
She was
definitely an iconic cover.
Yeah, apparently she was a nude underneath that black robe she was up there. It was she remembers it was a cold day there when they shot that cover, and it was different outtakes of that photo shoot there, and then the last
Right.
one they used it was, was the one that made the cut. And
Yeah.
also, the area that they shot that photograph in was at a water mill in the Oxfordshire, England.
Yeah. Okay, you want my number one?
Go ahead.
And I'm kind of surprised it went on your list.
Mhm.
Led Zeppelin.
Oh my goodness, Sting Gummit. No man. Now I got to put that number, rearrange my list again because put Zeppelin next to Sabbath there
When that album
because that
came out, that just, I mean, it was different from anything else that was going on. Every song on that album was good. It was not all the same stuff. It was all. I told you the story while I was working in a Gibson's, which is like a Kmart, whatever, discount
yeah
store. And the 8 tracks came in, and I saw this one, and I had the authority to open them and put them in to play.
yeah
And I saw that album cover, and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool.
yeah the
Opened
Hindenburg.
that thing up, plugged it in, and the first song that played was Good Times, Bad Times, and I'm going like, oh my gosh, this is good. And then to listen to the rest of it, it was like, there's nothing bad on this whole album. That's
Yeah,
just something that what we discussed before, and Jeebus might not be familiar with this, but in the '60s when they released albums, they would put a couple three hit songs on them and fill it with whatever they felt like. And
yeah.
generally, there was a good one here and there, but a lot of times the filler was just them either covering stuff
Well,
or it was junk they
well,
played.
also back then you could also just buy the singles,
Right,
on
right. And the albums were kind of like
the
for
songs you
the
wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
completists, the people that wanted to do everything. But that's that.
That was enough. That was enough. If you got three good tracks on the album, that was enough to make people want to buy them.
Yeah, because albums were relatively cheap anyway
Yeah,
back
at
then.
that time. Back then, it was. I remember when I was buying them, it was about $6.99, $7.99.
Oh
Now
Lord, when I bought
nowadays
them,
at the
they were
barns are
when I was buying them, they were like $2 or less.
wow, damn. Damn, that's all I gotta say. You buy
Yeah,
it a vinyl record nowadays, it's about 24 or $25.
yeah, yeah.
The
But
reissue of the Pink Floyd The Wall album is about $42, believe it or not.
well, that's a double set.
And I know that is true, yeah.
But another debut album that's worth mentioning, but didn't make my list, is Blue Cheer Vincibus Eruptum. Now that
Oh,
possibly is your first heart heavy metal album.
oh yeah. I remember the quote that one of the members were talking about. They said they described their music as quote unquote, instead of kissing babies and eating flowers, they were kissing flowers and eating babies.
Yeah, it's this album is incredibly hard for 1960, whatever it was. I mean, every song on that album is a driving song. I mean,
It was,
hard
yeah.
song.
Their cover of Eddie Cochran's "Summertime Blues" still played to this day. On I
Yeah,
remember hearing a couple of times at the Goodwill and a couple, couple of Goodwill stores because remember they play a lot of '60s music there
yeah,
through the speaker there. I think
and
it's a satellite radio or something like that. I guess what is.
oh, possibly. But that
Yeah.
album right there is among some of the first metal songs because it was hard driving stuff. Any of you metal fans out there, find it. Vincibus Eruptum. It's
And
only
play
six
it and
songs, but wow, they're
man, and
long.
play it loud as well, folks.
6 songs and they're long for the most part. I think Summertime Blues is the shortest one at over 4 minutes.
Ah,
But there's some great songs in there.
wow,
Uh,
man.
What's the longest rock song? Would that be Freebird?
oh no, no.
No, I think there's other songs that are that longer.
Well, I can think of two off the top of my head, and there are probably some longer. Uh, Canned Heat on their album Living the Blues. It was live, but they did something like a 40-minute version of Refied Boogie, which they basically just went
Whoa.
through and played their stuff. And
Wow.
then if you put Tarkus off the live album Welcome Back My Friends to Show That Never Ends, that one runs
Ever Palmer.
that one runs about 30 minutes.
Yeah, that is true. There, it's great, and then also the Tarkus album, that album, that whole piece does not disappoint as well. And
Nope.
of course, we cannot forget the Gates of Delirium by Yes from the Relayer album that
Yeah, that
I
was about
mentioned
20
earlier.
minutes. And
Yeah, so
technically, they will tell you that their album Tales from Topographic Oceans is one song,
uh,
and that's a double-sided album. Each side's 19 minutes.
wow,
So you're
holy
talking
cow!
about an
You
hour.
got me intrigued now, man.
But they'll basically tell you this is all one song. Now it's not
Wow,
really,
man.
but but that I
But
think
it adds the integrity to the album there.
yeah, yeah.
It's going to drive the listener to say, "Whoa, I got to check this out." That's for sure, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of incredibly long songs out there, but
Uh,
a lot of them are pretty good.
yeah. Very damn good. I mean, like the one I remember that was pretty long, about 40 minutes, was a long extended version of a track called Blue Rune by a UK electronic ambient group called The Orb.
Right, right.
And that came out, I guess, in 1992.
Yeah, usually if a song clocks in at anywhere between 6 to 10 minutes, you're getting long.
Uh,
And it long is depending on what you're trying to hear, because a lot of times a song will be a certain length and it doesn't bother you. Hey, it's been 20 minutes, really? Another good one is Pink Floyd Echoes. That song's about
oh,
23 minutes,
shit,
and that
dude.
thing is a masterpiece.
Absolutely. Play that. I know it's been done. It's been talked about. Play that track with the last half hour of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and bro, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, that song.
Interesting.
That song. Have you ever heard this song, Jeebus?
I never did. No.
Oh, you're
It's
missing out, man.
incredibly spacey. You will. I
It
think
is
you'll like
trip.
it.
It is the most tripped out piece of music you ever heard in your life.
I've got a couple of albums by Pink Floyd because I really like their album art.
Yep.
Yeah. Which
You
two
know,
do you
hanging it
have?
up on the wall.
Which two do you have?
Uh,
Which one?
I can't remember. It's got like a triangle or something on the front.
Oh, you got
Dark
Dark
Side
Side
of
of
the
the Moon.
Moon, The
Yeah.
Prism, Dark Side of the Moon. Everyone knows that record like the back of their hand. One
That
of the
that whole
Yeah,
greatest albums.
that whole concept album is just from start to finish a fantastic listen.
And
really.
and that album sold God knows how many. That album stayed on the Billboard charts for in the top 200 charts for over 15 years.
Yeah, it
I've
just
got like a bunch of
constantly sold.
albums. I've got a whole bunch of albums, but I don't have a record player. You know,
Oh yeah.
Oh, get one, dude. They got
I'm gonna
some at the
get one.
nearby Walmart and a couple other places there. Definitely.
Yeah, you can find them.
Yeah,
You have no
I
idea.
got one that was called Cream, and the album's like chrome. It's like
Chrome,
shiny
silver,
and shit.
silver.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
it
Wow.
sounds like Wheels of Fire. That's a great album.
Yeah,
They got a live side and a studio side.
yeah, no, or actually, it's a double album. One
Right. Well, I
album is
didn't
yeah,
mean side. I meant
yeah,
album.
like Pink Floyd's Amagama.
Yeah, which that's a good
Another
album.
album which I recommend, folks.
Yeah. Well, when we get to Pink Floyd, I'll end up recommending all but maybe one or two.
All right.
I mean, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. Oh,
Oh, dude, I went spat when I
they're
first heard
prog.
The Wall when it first came out. I was like bedazzled, and I was like, I got that album. I was like amazed by the production and the storyline of The Wall there.
Yeah.
And later, I just started buying more and more. The second one I bought after that, about a month later, was Obscured by Clouds.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to recommend to anyone out there, look up on YouTube the live version of Comfortably Numb off the Pulse tour.
Uh,
That has got at the end probably the best guitar solo you have ever heard in your life by David Gilmour.
wow,
It is
absolutely.
incredible. You'll sit there
It,
absolutely mesmerized. If you like Pink Floyd at all, that song will grab you and not let go.
yeah, that
if
I mean,
Pink Floyd didn't have all the drugs they had, could they have been as successful as they were?
what the drugs?
They did, after Sid kind of did his thing and went off the deep end, they really didn't do it all that much
They were
after that
they
because,
preferred alcohol.
yeah, because they saw what it did to Sid, and I guess they didn't want to have any part of that. But we'll
Exactly.
cover
So
this.
they were never really a drug
Do you
band.
know
They
a
were,
couple, at least a few of those albums were all written when they were on psychedelics, right?
It
we
makes
don't.
you sure know. It sure seems like it.
Yeah.
Another album by them that I like a lot while we're mentioning that kind of thing is Animals.
Oh yeah. The Animal Farm inspired album. That album was inspired by a story by George Orwell called Animal Farm.
Right.
And there's an animated version of that book up there that's available. I guess it's on. You know what? They should at least release it on DVD sometime soon
Yeah. Well,
because
the song off
because
there is another one of those long ones. Is Dogs,
dogs,
which is
absolutely,
a great
17
song.
minutes long,
That's
17
a
Have you
great
minutes
heard
song.
it?
long. That
Oh yeah, I've heard all their
oh
stuff.
oh yeah. So I was buying Pink Floyd albums like crazy. Wish You Were Here, Animals, um, Amagama, other stuff there. Damn. Because
Yeah,
when I get into a
we'll
band, I
get
start
deep.
buying all the albums.
We'll get deep into Pink Floyd when it comes their turn,
Yep.
because they've got favorite songs.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
let's
do.
see. We got. You want to do the Kinks next? Because we're kind of
Yeah,
bumping time.
absolutely. Let's do the
We're
Kinks
bumping
here.
time a little bit.
All right. I got the Kinks. My top 5 Kinks
Well, do
songs.
you want me
And,
to start
and
at 15 for me and then get up to 5 and then you go?
absolutely, go right ahead, dude.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
number 15, I got Come Dancing Great song, but I have others I like better.
Yep.
14, I got Top of the Pops, which is off the Lola album. It's a nice little song, actually.
Uh-huh.
It's got a little bit of metal in it. Number 13, Why Can't I Find You? Oh, there you are. Lola.
Oh yeah, that song about the trans.
We don't know
About
what
the,
it's about. It's purposely ambiguous.
Mhm.
They want you
But
to think about it. So, and I'm pretty sure, who knows? But the interesting thing of that song is, there's a line in there, something like, just like cherry cola. The
yep,
original line was just like Coca Cola, and
absolutely. I remember that
the record
Coca-Cola
label
company.
made him change it because Coca Cola wanted, because they were mentioned, wanted royalties or whatever.
Yep.
Number 12, I got Destroyer. Number 11, I got a song called Do It Again, which is a great little song.
All right.
Number 10, I got is You Really Got Me, which basically is their first hit.
Yep.
Number 9, I got All Day and All the Night, which was essentially their second hit.
Yep.
Number 8, I got Tired of Waiting for You. I like that
I
song.
remember that song. That was remember that teacher I had all those vinyl 45s
Yeah,
that she brought in. That was included in one of them for sure.
doesn't surprise me. Number
Yep.
7, I got Who Will Be the Next in Line. Number 6, I got Well Respected Man.
I remember hearing that as well.
Okay, hit me with your number 5.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, my number five is the one you mentioned earlier. Catch Me Now, I'm Falling from Low Budget, 1979.
Nice song.
Um, no, actually, no, excuse me. That was number six. My bad. I rearranged it there just a
Oh,
moment ago. All
okay.
right, number five. K- Number five is Come Dancing,
Right,
one of their big hits on the MTV when it was known as MTV, not the Catfish Television Network. Or number four, of course, would
whoa.
be Lola.
Well, I was going to say my number 5 is Dedicated Follower of Fashion.
Oh, okay.
And your number 4 is Lola?
Yeah, Lola, because because of the content about that
Right,
song, so many people are. I guess it's safe to say that many people within the LGBTQ community can adapt to that song because with all the, especially if what's seem appropriate now with all the transgender things that's a trend that was
right,
going on for the past couple of years, with especially now with actress Ellen Page now being addressed as Elliot Page. I guess she wants to be a boy.
right. Yeah,
And plus, with Caitlyn, the former Bruce Jenner and the former Chastity Bono.
right. And there's a tennis person, I forgot their name. Renee Richards?
Oh, yeah. Renee Richards, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I know there was also a transgender wrestler named Nyla Rose who now wrestles with AEW.
Oh, and the one that did Switched on Bach. What the
Yes,
hell was his name?
the former Walter
It's
Carlos,
now
now
Wendy.
known as Wendy Carlos.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is a song called Celluloid Heroes, which
Mhm.
basically is singing about the past actors and such in Hollywood and such. And pretty nice little song, actually.
Yeah, kind of like ode to the movie stars of the past, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think so. Good song. There's two versions, the live one and the studio one, and they're both excellent. Okay, your number 3 is
My number three is a Destroyer from the album. I guess it's Give the People What They Want.
yeah, yeah,
1980 and 1981. I think that's when that album came out.
right. My number 3 is Jukebox Music, which basically is talking about playing stuff on the jukebox music and all that. It's a good song.
Right.
Your number 2,
All Day and All the Night.
great song. Well, it's on my
Yeah,
list, obviously.
yeah. The next one of the power riffs. One of the next to the basically it's one of those songs with the powerful guitar riffs at the beginning of the song, and that's number two next to the number one here.
Hold it.
Probably when the old, yep.
My number two is Living on the Thin Line,
Oh,
which that's, I forgot what album it's off of. But that's a song I really like. I believe it's a Dave Davies song, if I'm not mistaken.
uh,
And your number one is, I'm
you're,
guessing,
yep,
yep,
you really got me.
yeah. My number one is Rock and Roll Fantasy, which is
Ah,
basically Ray Davies talking about them and all the things they've done and all the things they've been through. And you want to quit, but I don't think I'm done yet, that sort of thing. Great,
ah,
good song. And if you do
yes.
find it, try to get the album version, which is about 5 minutes.
Because let me guess, the single version's edited,
Well, yeah,
correct?
they cut stuff out of it. And see, that's the
They
thing the
always
record
do
companies
that.
don't understand. It's a lot of times when you hear something and you cut verses out of it, you're losing part of the meaning of the song.
Absolutely. But then again, at that time, there's only so much of minutes you could put on a 45.
Right.
I guess people are so surprised that the Beatles were able to do that with the song Hey Jude. And that song
Absolutely.
was way over 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 7:30, but we don't need to be exact on that.
Yeah.
And I guess now we roll into
The soundtrack?
soundtracks.
Absolutely, man.
You still
Oh,
there,
yeah.
Jeebus?
Jeebus?
Oh
Don't tell me
no.
he got caught up. Did he leave?
I don't know. You there, Jeebus?
No, I don't see him.
He might have dropped out on the Kinks.
I don't know. Let me get him back on the call, man. Yeah,
Okay,
cause
and you have five, right?
yes, my top five soundtracks here. While we
Well,
get Jeebus back on the call here.
I basically found 18, and like I
All
said, a
right.
lot of mine are going to surprise you. You're going to say,
Okay.
"Really?" Because again, we're not considering single songs. These are albums, or what you would call albums.
The whole
So,
album there,
right,
folks. Yeah.
right. It won't be like "Chariots of Fire" because they have an album, I suppose. I don't know, but I've never heard it. And it wouldn't
Yeah.
be like
The Vangelis.
uh, Jaws. I love that theme, but I
Mhm.
don't know if they've got any. I don't even know if there's an album out with that.
I don't know either. I don't think I ever saw a Jaws soundtrack album.
And then when you talk about James Bond, you got different artists that did several of the songs, but I don't know
Yeah.
if they had albums. I mean, my favorite ones are probably "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney,
Oh yeah.
"Thunderball" by Tom Jones,
Yep.
"Nobody Does It Better." Oh, was that Carly Simon?
I believe it was. Yeah, from The Spy Who Loved Me.
And then Sheena Easton for "Your Eyes Only."
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that song. She was featured in the opening of the movie as well. I think that was the first.
Yeah, and then Shirley Bassey, "Goldfinger,"
Yep.
and
Duran Duran, The View to a Kill.
yeah, and Casino Royale. I don't know who did it originally, but the Herb Alpert version is really good.
Oh, ah,
It's an instrumental, but it's a good song.
yeah.
Did you lose Jeebus?
Yeah, he's unavailable. Dude, I don't know what the heck happened, dude.
Well, I hate that he misses out on this because this was what he wanted to do. Are you
I know.
ready?
He's one of. Yes, I'm ready.
Number 18, I got the soundtrack for Grease.
Oh my gosh, I played that album a lot of times when I was in that at one school with that teacher with all the records there,
Yeah. And
and
the
she
funny
had
thing
that.
is, I really didn't like care much. I didn't really like the movie, but there's some great songs on this soundtrack. I mean,
Dude,
there
that
are.
movie and the soundtrack next to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack were like the top soundtracks of that period, around 77, 78.
Yeah, yeah,
They were all over the radio. It helped. John Travolta was definitely at that time at top of his game with those two movies there.
yeah. And number 17, I'm going to change it. I originally had Willy Wonka, but I don't think there's a soundtrack for that. There's
I
just a
never
lot of,
knew it was.
well, I don't think there is now that I think about it, but there were a
Hmm.
lot of songs throughout that were really good, and I'm a
Yeah, we
huge
know
Gene
one of
Wilder
them,
fan.
and we all know one of them. Oompa,
Yeah,
oompa.
everybody knows that one.
Yes,
But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna change it to Footloose
Oh yeah,
because I like the Kenny Loggins Footloose song, and there's
yeah.
another song on that album by Bill Mayer and a girl I can't remember, Jennifer Warnes I think, and I
I
can't even
think
remember the name of the song, but that's a great song.
there's another song on that album. I think we heard of this. Mike Reno of Loverboy and Ann Wilson of Heart. Was it Almost Paradise? I think it is.
Yeah, so
I gotta tell,
I'm gonna put
I
that
gotta
on
tell
there.
you this story here. Mike Reno, at my former workplace, the golf club that I worked at. I remember detailed this on the I put it on my Facebook, and I recorded this for my channel just as well. There was an appearance by an '80s group. You ever remember Information Society? They were doing an outside
Yeah,
performance in the patio. I guess it was kind of like some sort of a show. I don't know what it was, but they were doing sort of songs like Pure Energy, Running Away, a couple others, and they announced that Mike Reno of Loverboy was going to be make an appearance as well. And he came out there, did a couple of Loverboy songs like "The Kid Is Hot Tonight" and
yeah,
"Working for the Weekend." And they brought on this singer from, I guess she's from Korea, and who right now is suffering from Parkinson's disease. But
mm.
they did. She was still able to sing, so they did that song "Almost Paradise" together.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna go to my Facebook page and to find that picture of me and Mike Reno there, so I can post it in the Skype chat there.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 16 is going to be my first surprise for you.
All right.
Oklahoma.
Ah,
This is a
the
movie from
musical.
the yeah, this is a movie from the 50s, but it's got some great songs in it.
Mm.
And my number 15, well, I've never seen this movie, but I've played the soundtrack and I love the soundtrack. Clockwork Orange. It has got some great takes on classical
Oh,
music,
oh yeah.
and it is really, really fun to listen to.
Ah.
My number 14 is a movie that when I watched it was like, this is stupid, but the music in it is great because it's got five Electric Light Orchestra songs and a couple of three by Olivia Newton-John that are good, and one by the Tubes that's
Oh my
good.
gosh, I know what you're talking about.
Xanadu,
Xanadu, correct?
yeah,
Yep.
stupid movie, but I love the soundtrack. And
Dude,
it's got a lot of great songs
that's on
in
my
it.
list too, man.
Uh, Number 13 I got is a double set, Superman. Had some great music by John Williams. I think it's John
Oh
Williams.
wow. Oh wow.
I mean, you can almost see Superman and the characters from the music. You can sit and play that whole album, and if you've seen the movie, almost visualize it in your head.
Wow.
Number 12, I got Music Man from the 50s, 60s too. And the great thing about this song is the Beatles actually pulled a song from this movie and covered it, Till There Was You.
Ah,
And that's actually a fun movie to watch.
I gotta look that up now, man. Definitely.
And number 11, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Who
Ah,
can forget the spaceship and the guys communicating? Day, 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 day.
who cannot forget that? That was one of the big things at that time. The whole movie is classic as well. It's one of my top favorites next to the first Star Wars there.
Yeah, this was a great movie, and the soundtrack's good too.
Ah,
Um, Number 10 is going to surprise you.
yes.
The Sound of Music. Believe it or
Mm.
not, that has got great stuff going on in it. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I can remember when that movie
I
came
don't think
out.
I have, no.
I was a
Actually, no.
teenager,
But I know it was Julie Andrews in it.
and it's a good story. But I can remember when I was a teenager, my parents and I were going to go to the movie because my two brothers were away. I said, okay, that'll be cool. You go watch whatever you want to watch, and I'll watch whatever. We went to the theater, and it's one of those with all the choices. I didn't like any
Yeah.
of the choices, and nothing was starting at the same time, at all. They were going to go see The Sound of Music, and I said, "Oh, what the heck? I'll go see it." Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. And I said, "I'll go watch it." And I started watching it, and I'm watching it, listening to it, watching it. Said, "You know what? This movie's not bad at all. It's a
Mm.
good movie. It's a great story. I mean, it's an incredible story, and the music's great because Julie Andrews has got a fantastic voice. And there's
Yeah,
good,
you gotta give her credit for that.
and there's going to be songs that you're going to recognize from that movie. My favorite things, Raindrops on Roses.
Yep.
That's from that movie. And of course, The Sound of
Yeah.
Music. But that movie is worth watching.
All right.
Number 9 is a real old classic, Wizard of Oz.
Oh man.
I
Oh man. The
never
songs
failed to
from the
watch
album.
that movie. Every year. Never failed.
Dude, that was like a tradition for the. I guess it ran on CBS for many years. I understand. I guess that to this day, if it's shown on TV, it still draws in all the viewers there. I mean, the weight, the songs, Follow the Yellow Brick Road,
Yeah.
all the other songs. And of
Yeah,
course, that song. Of course, we cannot forget the 1970s version, The Whiz, with Diana Ross, and Michael Jackson.
yeah, but that does
Ease on down the road. The funky version.
but that just simply doesn't match up with the original. I
That's
mean,
true as well.
and there's a cover from that movie, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of them, but the one that
Over
I'm
the
thinking
Rainbow.
is
Over the Rainbow. Remember, there was a singer. So I think his name was Sam Harris, who was in that.
yeah,
What was it called? Star Search. He landed a record label with Motown Records, and he did his version of that song for his record there.
yeah, and the song I was talking about was there's a group called the Fifth Estate that covered, believe it or not, "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like what? Okay.
Damn.
Number 8 I got is another double album set, but the music again is memorable. The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh hell yeah. John Williams once again.
Yeah. Number 7 I got Easy Rider. That had a bunch
Oh
of
my God, I had that album just as well. The Jimi Hendrix Experience,
yeah. There's
Steppenwolf,
a lot of great songs on that album.
the band under the name Smith were doing The Weight.
Actually, I think there was a group called Smith that did that.
Really?
Yeah, I
Because I
think
know it
so.
was, I think it was, I'm not sure. I got to look that up, the whole complete story about that. But um, it had the Electric Prunes. It had, I guess,
Oh,
what
it
was
was
it?
loaded. Iron Butterfly was in it, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Not doing, of course, Inagata the Beat, of course,
Oh
as
no,
you
they were
know,
doing.
which was, but it was another long song that needs to be mentioned there.
Yep. Number 6. This one's going to surprise you.
All right.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, no
That has got
surprise.
some
Classic,
magnificent
classic,
classic music in it.
classic, classic. That actually, believe it or not, I don't want to spoil, but that's my number one pick.
Well, I'm going to surprise
And also, we also cannot forget there was a volume 2 that came out soon afterwards.
Yep. Okay, let's do your number 5,
Okay, my number 5 here. The Xanadu soundtrack for with the Olivia Newton-John and the Electric Light Orchestra
which was the
from
main reason I
1980.
picked it was the ELO.
Yeah. The reason I picked it up was a year later because around 1981, when Olivia cut her hair and did that physical song, she was like my dream girl at that time, believe it or not. In
Wow.
spite everybody was into Pat Benatar and all that other stuff there. I was really into her, even though she was like considered an adult contemporary artist. At
Yep.
the time, I was really had infatuated with her. I bought her some of her records there. I saw the TV special, Physical, the Let's Get Physical, the TV that originally aired on ABC there, and it's like, wow, holy cow, that mesmerized me. So I was buying, so picked up the Xanadu soundtrack because I remember hearing Magic,
Yeah,
suddenly
but I
Cliff
love the
Richard.
ELO side. I mean, I just absolutely
Yeah,
thought
they
that was
came out with
great.
some good songs on that one as well. The Fall,
Uh,
Don't Walk Away,
I'm
All Over
alive,
the World, I'm Alive. Yep.
and the
I
tube
mean,
song, and that's good too.
oh yeah, the two, but on the end, what was it called? Dance, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
dancing or something like that.
Dancing, correct. And the one she did with Gene Kelly,
That was
Whenever
good.
You're on My Mind, yeah, yeah, that was good as well.
That was a great out. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but the movie
I
stinks.
did. Yeah, I did.
I don't
I
like the
did.
movie.
Yeah, after when you think I don't just watch it because to hear the songs and hear
Right.
see her there, but when you think about it, the movie was like well, there was so many problems. So I understand with the movie regarding with this situation, that situation there.
Well,
She
it's kind
even
of a
commented,
stupid story.
yeah, and she even said in an interview that the script was not even finished when she signed on to do the movie there.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of issues with that.
Okay, my number five, Star Wars, the original.
Oh,
And that's a nice double set. And it's another one you
you
can
know
sit and
what?
listen to, and you can see the movie in your mind as you're listening to it.
You know what? I don't know what record label. I guess Walt Disney Records. They should reissue all nine of the soundtracks to all
Yeah.
the Star Wars movies as either a box set or for CD, vinyl, or individually. They should do that now, definitely.
Right.
I remember the soundtrack originally first came out when it was just known as simply Star Wars. It
Right.
came out on a record label called 20th Century Records. And that was a home to Barry White and
Yeah.
his albums there.
And it was a
But
double
now,
set.
yeah, I believe the soundtrack to the Empire Strikes Back came out on RSO Records, if I'm correct.
It could be, and that was also a double set.
As well, yeah. RSO, by the way, was the record label started by Robert Stigwood, meaning Robert Stigwood Organization. It was based
Right.
out of LA that signed the Bee Gees, Eric Clapton, the band Player, and a couple others.
Okay, what
So,
you have for number four?
number four would have to be The Decline of Western Civilization, Part Two, The Metal Years. It came out in 1988 on Capitol Records. It had Megadeth. It had bands like London. And one of the bands that I mentioned a couple of times on the past programs with a YR I did earlier last year, the band Seduce, a power trio from the D-Town. They had a song about a dead porn star named Colleen. Um, it was the song was called Colleen. They used to often play that live a few times when me and a couple of buddies saw them. And that was included on the soundtrack. It also had In My Darkest Day, Darkest Hour by Megadeth and a couple others as well.
Right. Okay, my number four, A Hard Day's Night.
Ah, huh.
I think we're
Absolutely.
familiar with that one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing that Capitol Records needs a reissue there because the original version of that album had a lot of instrumental scores along with it as well that people
Well, and
need to
that's the
hear.
version I'm talking about
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
because some of those instrumentals are really good.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree as well. I
Okay,
agree.
who's your number three?
Um, we talked about this movie in a couple episodes ago, but I'm going to go with Sheena, the soundtrack with the recently departed Tanya Roberts.
Oh wow, I didn't even know there was a soundtrack.
There was. I saw it at the nearby music stop when in Rosedale, and I picked it up because I dig the theme song for that song, so I listened
Right.
to it. There's pretty good stuff on that soundtrack there.
Interesting.
Pretty
Huh.
good. Yeah.
Okay, my number three, Obscured by Clouds.
The Pink
That
Floyd album.
that has got some great music on it.
Absolutely. And by the way, it was the movie recorded on that album was for a French movie titled The Valley, which came out that
Right.
same year, which was
Right.
1972. And we also got to throw in another soundtrack they did for another French movie
We'll get
titled
to it.
Four.
I was gonna say we'll get to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like gave it away there, but I had to throw that in for all the kids out there who only know Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall.
And Jeebus only know. I'm
Oh,
kidding, Jeebus. Uh,
Jeebus, where'd you go? Where'd you go, dude? What the fuck?
okay, who's your number two?
Oh, we talked about the. I was going to mention this album definitely was a trip to listen to. The U.S. version of "Help" by the Beatles.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and because not just the Beatles, but again with the instrumental scores that
Right.
came along with the U.S. version.
And
Some of that
that's
I
some great stuff.
absolutely did. The the sitar version of "Hard Day's Night," "The Bitter End," "The
Right.
Chase." Good stuff there. Absolutely good stuff, and
Yes.
also good movies just as well, as along with "Hard
That
Day's
was a
Night."
very entertaining movie.
Absolutely.
My number two, you just mentioned More.
Mm.
That's
Oh
got
fuck yeah.
one of my favorite early Pink Floyd songs, the Nile song. That
Oh yeah.
song
Minus
moves.
Cymbeline, the more blues, and
Yeah,
the main theme is just as well. Great album,
it's
folks.
absolutely fantastic. Now I'm intrigued into what your number one is.
Oh, and we talked about this album moments ago, and I'll mention it again. I think I already did mention 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
That is that is just one of the
that
first trance
folks was
soundtracks I
Star.
get, and it was just blew me away.
That was Star Wars of its time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they did a great version of Blue Danube. They had the choir songs where they did, and that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you always remember Dave. I wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The movie's kind of weird to follow, but it's a great
But
movie.
yet you can, but yet you cannot be in more. Couldn't help but be intrigued by HAL 9000. And I said this many before. I said this in the video on my channel not so long. I think we're not now living in the 2001 prime right now. I
Yeah,
mean, you look at that because one, we have Alexa, which is a female version of HAL 9000.
right,
We're able to communicate through things like StreamYards, Skype,
right.
Twitch, and other things out there. Like, oh yeah, Discord just as well. And we're able to have tablets on with us because if you see where the two astronauts are there, they're eating something while watching this interview, where they're being interviewed by a British journalist. Um, they have tablets alongside their dinner plates there. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Okay, my number
And
one.
also, we cannot forget the monolith. Not exactly the one they found in Utah, which keeps disappearing and reappearing there, but still.
Yeah. Oh damn!
Yeah.
Three Ponies just mentioned to me about Urban Cowboy, and I forgot all about that and Saturday Night Fever.
Wow. My sister had that soundtrack. She played that record to death tremendously.
Well, those two would have made my list if I'd thought about them. Uh, my number one is Help. There's just something about the way that whole thing is crafted. It's got some of their better songs on it, and like you said, the musical fills and things of that nature on the
Yeah,
original
absolutely.
album
Yeah,
from
the U.S.
Capitol.
version. Yes, yes, Capitol. Reissue the original versions of that album, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and that for me on a short think, we did this today. Uh, that would be my number one.
All right. I
Because
couldn't agree more, man.
so you see, my top four are basically the Beatles and Pink Floyd.
All
I mean,
right, absolutely. Dude.
and Star Wars is number five.
Oh
Imagine
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Definitely, Walt Disney, if you're out there, or the boys at Disney, reissue those or the soundtrack albums, all
Oh,
9 of them.
oh yeah, and Walt Disney, while you're out there, I'm sorry I didn't mention any of yours. I do like them, but they just didn't do for me because I do like Fantasia. I mean
Oh
that
yeah,
anything that incorporates classical music in a way that's fun to watch.
unique way when you think about it there.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, especially when it gets itself into the movie a little bit, and you can anytime you play a soundtrack and you can visualize the movie, you know the music's good. So yeah, and as far as Urban Cowboy and Saturday Night Fever, those had some great
Urban
songs in.
Cowboy was all over the place. Boss Gags, Joe Walsh.
Yeah, Joe
Um,
Walsh had a great song in that movie.
oh yeah. No, all night long. Still played on the radio, believe it or not. That the
Yeah,
classic station
yeah,
back in Michigan there that I mentioned a few times.
yeah, yeah. But I guess that covers what we were going to do today. Uh,
Yep.
I think our next one we'd planned on doing the Beatles, and I've got a top 20 of their early stuff pre Sergeant Pepper,
Uh-huh.
and a top 15 of their stuff post Sergeant Pepper. And actually, I could
Wow.
expand that to 20 pretty easily.
All right.
So, do we want to go ahead and do 20 for both of those?
I think yeah, we could do that. I didn't really come up with a list, but if I'm going to come
Well,
up with
you
a
got
list, it'll be
time
just
because
mix all of them together because it doesn't matter to me. It's still the Beatles.
yeah, I divided them because it just, to me, that's two different eras. So, oh, I got mentioned Zachariah. That is a good soundtrack. That's the James Gang. And
Ah,
help me out there, who else? James Gang's the one I really remember.
yeah. By the way, which would feature, of course, featured Joe Walsh. By the way,
Yeah, yeah,
Funk 49 and Walk Away. Those two classic songs there.
yeah. And when we get to James Gang, we'll cover them pretty deep. Because that's a group that they only had three studio albums with Walsh, but they had several others that were pretty decent too without Joe
All
Walsh.
right. All right.
And one great live album, two great live albums with
All
Walsh.
right. All right.
And I guess next show we do, whenever that will be, we'll do our top songs of the Beatles, and I guess you can do them any way you want to do them.
Album. Absolutely.
But
Definitely.
I want to do top 20 songs pre Sergeant Pepper, top 20 songs Sergeant Pepper Beyond, because that's to me two different styles. I mean, they're getting into it, but there's such a huge difference in those styles that the music's kind of divided for me.
Uh-huh.
But we will plan to do that next time you're off, I guess.
Yeah, next time because I guess I got to find out which my next days off are, because I'll be working a course in the morning till about 8:30 or something like that,
Right.
It's about and I'd working my long set of hours and all that good stuff there.
Well, anytime that you're off, we could do it around 6. Just let me know ahead of time, and I can pretty much
Around
schedule it.
6 or 6:30 there.
Yeah, and I can pretty much do it. So I guess, again, I'll tell folks, if you think about it, give us some ideas on top 10s, top 20s, or whatever in the comments. Give us your top 10 or 20 for the things we've discussed, and let's compare lists. That'll be kind of fun. Maybe you guys will touch on something that I'll go,
All right.
oh my gosh, of course, that I didn't think of. That we all have different tastes, and
Yep. And that's true.
but I guess
So I
we'll do
guess
the Beatles, then we'll do the Stones and the Who, and on our lists, and then we'll get back
absolutely.
into our journey.
Okay, there, definitely. And so I guess it's done. We're done tonight, I guess.
Yeah, it
All
went a little
right,
long,
there.
I think,
Yeah,
but
let
that's
alone, but it
okay.
was a pretty good long there, but it was well worth it.
Yeah, Yeah.
And I don't know now, Jeebus, where you at? I don't know what the heck happened. So
Well,
when
anyone.
next time I get a hold of you, you could we'll let you know once next time we'll be on the air, and we'll invite you, of course, as well as everybody else
Well, anybody else
listening,
that can
to
contribute to
participate.
the show and not get off on tangents, uh,
Yep.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, there. So I guess that's going to do it for tonight. This has been episode 21 of our music memory series, Arknolia Stroke of Being, Dr. Earl W. Brown. And for Arknolia and myself, we are out of here. You guys have a good one and have a good week ahead, okay? And stay safe this coming Wednesday because there's been a lot of talk about. Oh, and by the way, before I get done here, I got to bring this tidbit up I saw earlier today while I was out in Old Town Spring area there. Phil Spector, the famed rock music producer and convicted murderer, has passed away at age 81.
Oh, okay.
And guess what he died from? COVID-19.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes. What? Now I'm going to read a report here from TMZ.com here, and he was the man responsible for what is known as the wall of sound. He applied that to make the sound a lot more louder, a lot more powerful. He did that with the Ronnie Spencer and the Ronettes, who was his wife for a while, the Righteous Brothers, and he suffered from COVID-related complications that are being transferred from his prison cell to a hospital. We're told that he was diagnosed 4 weeks ago, went in there, but recovered well enough to return to prison. He was serving, of course, a 19 years to life sentence for the murder of one Lana Clarkson.
Right.
Now, a lot of sources say that he had trouble breathing, was rushed back to the hospital where he died yesterday. Now, he is known for, of course, as we mentioned, the Wall of Sound with Righteous Brothers. He worked with the Beatles. Remember, he worked with the Beatles remixing the Let It Be album there with the
Right.
orchestra arrangements here and there for those tracks.
Right.
And of course, he worked with, I guess, Ike and Tina Turner. He had Sonny Bono as one of his assistants there for a while there prior to him hooking up with Cher.
Yeah. Okay.
And also the Ramones, the
Right.
1980 album that they put out, end of the century. He produced that album just as well.
Yeah.
So,
He definitely did a lot of addition to whatever he produced.
yeah, absolutely there. So once again, Phil Spector, legendary music producer, dead at age 81 there. Rest in peace, Phil.
Right.
All right there. So once again, that'll be a do it for this episode here. Once again, for Arknolia and myself, you guys have a good week, and you guys have a good one, okay?
All right. And we'll talk
All
to y'all
right.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was